Hola chicos, esta es la introducción a la semana número 9. Es una semana muy corta porque tenemos 2 días que son vacaciones para el otoño, ¿sí? Entonces no tenemos clase el lunes. Entonces el lunes no hay tarea esta semana, solamente hay tarea el jueves. El jueves tenéis 2 tipos de tarea. Tenéis tarea que es tarea del libro, ¿sí? Entonces tenéis actividades en el supersite que tenéis que hacer y también tenéis que hacer la revisión de la composición. Entonces vamos a mirar la composición un poco y os voy a hablar un poco de la revisión y lo que tenéis que hacer. Entonces, a ver, vamos a mirar dónde está. Eso, entonces, bueno, el módulo, ¿sí? De semana 9 tenemos la composición, la revisión, ¿sí? Entonces aquí tenéis eso, que tiene, bueno, que son los códigos, so the key to my correction notes. So you need to go to the assignment. So look at your first draft, and you can see that I've made notations 2 ways. One, you're going to see that there's a rubric, and the rubric has things that are automatically in the rubric, but then also below the description, you're going to see that sometimes I've also made additional comments. So that's important to look at. The other thing that's important to do is you need to open up your composition assignment, because when you open it up, you're going to see it looks like track changes. So you're going to see all kinds of little notations that I have out to the side. So places where I've marked that you have some sort of an error. And this correction key here is going to help you figure out what my shorthand means. So you're going to open up that and then see it's going to tell you. So if it's got AG, it means that it's agreement error. So it could be like a subject verb error. It could be a noun adjective error where you said like Casablanco, subject verb where you say like yo hablas, things like that. So preposition, word form, translation. So if you've got literal translation from English, that kind of thing. I have one of them that I want to talk about is this one right here where it says relative pronouns. And the most common relative pronouns are K, Kian, and low K. And that was one of the most common errors. I mean, you know, the agreement errors and spelling errors, well, not very many spelling, but agreement, gender errors, those kind of errors I expected to see. The relative pronoun errors, I'm actually really happy to see relative pronoun errors, because what that means is you don't see relative pronoun errors in writing that is really, really basic. So students that are in 131 and 132, very rarely do you see a place where they needed a relative pronoun, because that is one of the signs, it's one of the hallmarks of more complicated writing. So it's actually a good thing that you have errors and not having relative pronouns. So as far as errors go, it's a pretty good error to have. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about relative pronouns and what they are. So I have included in the chapter, in the week 9 module, I've included this sheet that talks about what relative pronouns are. So like I said, the most common relative pronouns are K, Kian, and low K. They help to bring a clause together. They're helping to make a more complex sentence. So like here it says, it links 2 clauses, it relates the clauses together. Okay, so it's a phrase, clauses or phrases that work on their own. So if you say, I can't find the book, you gave me the book. Those are 2 simplistic sentences that you might find in somebody who is a beginning writer. But as you become more versed in a language, you are going to have more complex sentences, whether spoken or written. So I can't find the book that you gave me. That is a relative pronoun. Okay, so in Spanish, the relative pronoun is always required. In English, a lot of times we get rid of them. So we can say, I can't find the book you gave me. So we've gotten rid of the word that. But in Spanish, it's something that you have to have. Okay, so que is the most common relative pronoun. It links to verb clauses. So here are some examples. Recuerdo que Marcos habla alemán. ¿Sí? Estas son las botas que quiero comprar. So these are the boots that I want to buy. That's one in English that we would actually cut out. These are the boots I want to buy. But in Spanish, you have to have the word that. Aquí está el hombre que trabaja en mi oficina. See? And then here we have this note. Because notice here that we have that, but here it means who. And in Spanish, we use que for all of them. So the English can be translated as that, who, or which. Okay, so que can be used for a person or can be used for a thing, which is a little different in English. In English, you could say, and people do say, the guy that you were talking to is my cousin. But really, to be grammatically correct, you really need to say the guy who I was talking to is, the guy who you were talking to is my cousin. So in English, you really need to say who. In Spanish, you would use que for both of those. The word quien does exist, and they do use it, but you only use quien with people, and you only use it as a relative pronoun when you have a preposition in front of it. Okay, so when you've got like para, a, con, de, ¿sí? So, ¿es ella la chica de quien siempre hablas? So, is that the girl of whom you always speak? So, notice how in English it's much more what we would call sophisticated, or some people would call snobby, but correct. That really the use of the word whom. So whom in English is used after a preposition. Of whom, to whom, by whom, for whom, with whom. So if you can remember that rule in English, it helps you with quien, see? So aquí está el hombre con quien trabajo. So here's the man with whom I work. In English, you really can end a sentence. Some people say, oh, you can't end a sentence with a preposition in English. But it's really not true. You really can. And there are times where it sounds extremely awkward, and it's actually incorrect to not end a sentence with a preposition. In Spanish, you cannot. So whenever you want to say that he was the guy I was talking to, you have to say he is the guy to whom I was speaking. Okay, or to whom I was talking. You have to not end with a preposition. So that's when you would use one of these quien. Encontraste al niño a quien buscabas. Did you find the boy for whom you were looking? See? So notice that each one of these uses of quien has a preposition in front of it, and we're referring to a person. Okay? Here, we were referring to a person, but we did not have a con, de, para, a, so no preposition. And the third one that is really common is lo que. Lo que is really a general word. It means what, or the thing that. Okay, it can refer to an idea, an action, a situation. So here are some examples. ¿Sabes lo que quiero para mi cumpleaños? So do you know what I want? It's like saying, do you know that thing that I want? Or do you know that those things that I want that I haven't specified yet? ¿Comprendes lo que dice el profesor? So do you understand what the professor is saying? Do you understand those things that he's saying, the ideas that he's saying? Lo que necesito es un viaje a Europa. What I need, that thing that I need, is a trip to Europe. Okay, let me give you another example with the que and the lo que. So if I said like, you go to the doctor, right? And the doctor, el médico me dice que yo necesito hacer ejercicio, necesito comer bien, ¿sí? Entonces el médico me dice que necesito hacer estas cosas. So the doctor is telling me that I need to do these things. I could also say, el médico me dijo lo que necesito hacer para vivir una vida sana. So the doctor told me what I need to do, like those things that I need to do to live a healthy life. So I didn't tell you what they were. I didn't specify. He told me that I need to do this, 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 and this. He told me what I need to do. And so that's when you would use lo que. Okay, so the errors that you have, I'm trying to remember, I'm not sure if anybody had a low K, but definitely the most common one that was missing was K. It's possible that there might have been some quien, but K was definitely a big one that was missing. So if you see relative pronoun, you can refer to this sheet to help you out. So anyway, you are going to revise your composition. There are the instructions again for typing accents and setting Spanish spell check, and upload it into this assignment. And that is also due on Thursday, the same day that you have your other homework due. I just kept it all on Thursday. Okay. ¿Qué más? ¿Hay otra cosa? A ver, ¿qué más? La conversación para esta semana también está en el módulo. Sí, entonces esta semana tenéis una conversación de chat, tenéis una de las conversaciones. Entonces aquí están las direcciones, aquí están lo que tenéis que hacer, sí, relative pronoun, so aquí es lo que tenéis que hacer para la semana en las conversaciones. Entonces otra vez, conversaciones de Zoom, tenéis que grabarlas, you have to tape them, y ponerlas en Kaltura, the media gallery. So remember to put them there since we haven't done one in a couple weeks. ¿Qué más? La otra cosa que quiero mencionar es que tenemos una semana muy corta, pero capítulo 3 es un capítulo un poco difícil, porque este capítulo, a ver si puedo encontrar el libro. ¿Dónde está? Ahí está el libro. Entonces tenemos vocabulario de la vida diaria. Y el vocabulario no es súper difícil. El vocabulario es normal, es vocabulario, ¿sí? La vida diaria, cosas de la casa, cosas de compras, expresiones, la vida diaria. Entonces, unas cosas normales. Pero también en este capítulo, cuando empezamos a hablar de las estructuras de la gramática de este capítulo es más difícil. Entonces, mira lo que tenemos, ¿sí? The preterite. So this chapter covers preterite and imperfect and how to use them both together. So unlike when you covered it in 100 level Spanish, or if you covered it in high school where you spent a really long time doing the preterite and then a really long time doing the imperfect, and then you worked on them both together, remember that in this class it runs a lot faster because they take it for granted that you already have seen this before and that you remember it. So I'm also going to be posting in the module some other charts and some ways to practice, but really, especially if it's been a while since you have looked at the conjugations for the preterite, you really need to be working on them even before they are assigned, because the preterite, which is one of the past tenses in Spanish, is one of the most difficult conjugations because there are so many differences, because there's regular verbs, irregular verbs, stem change verbs, verbs that have a spelling change, and verbs that are truly, irregular. So there's a lot going on with the grammar. So really, 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 even though it's a short week, you need to get started working on the vocabulary, and I really advise that you start looking at the preterite tense. So anyway, try to have some fun in with it. Hasta luego, ¿sí?